Okay, I'm at 8720 Woodview Drive. I believe this is Wyoming. We're doing a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a home. Now the access point, as you can see, is on the roof. There is a clean out in the rear of the basement, going out the basement wall, and but there is, it looks like they've removed it one time, and it looks like the actual connection with the threads where the clean out is on the end of the pipe looks like it's been damaged, and so I'm not gonna take a chance of removing that. And so we're going through the stack in the roof, and what we're looking for is just root intrusion, mainly structural issues, things that would concern the buyer, or possibly cause issues. And so there are two stacks. I believe this is the one that goes straight down. And this is the should go down and go straight out the back. And this is cast iron, and I'm expecting for this to change over to clay once it exits the house. We got some leaves and stuff down in here. That's not good. Huh. See if we can get through this, but I'm not sure what that is. I mean, it should just go down and turn. Be going straight down through here and turn, and we can try the other stack. It's pretty strange. Maybe we'll try to run some water and see if we can get through it. I definitely don't want to open up that other one. Based off of the placement in the basement, I would think that was the main stack, but I'm going to take a look down in this one, but I expect this one to reduce relatively quickly. So this is the okay, well, I guess I was wrong. I was in the wrong stack. That must have been the loop vent there, because we are already horizontal, and it is cast iron, like I mentioned. Cast iron is difficult to tell, a lot of things as far as how much life is left in the line. They all look pretty nasty because it rusts, and so they all do kind of look like this, and they have a little, if they've never been like deburred, or because you can actually get these, basically they scrape the walls to be able to remove all the excess rust and stuff, but sometimes that can cause issues as far as, sometimes that just can actually break holes in the line if it's too, if it's too rough. I'd say it's about a 50-50 thing with plumbers on whether or not it's a good thing to do to descale it. But you don't have a whole lot of cast iron on this. I mean, it's 26 feet, but then that's even the vertical. And like expected, we switch over to clay. And I'm also going to be looking for a clean out, because I'm thinking that this is they call a converted septic, which means originally there was a septic tank back here, and I think that may be it right there. There may be something really hard to tell. Looks like the way that's sitting is that right here there is a clean out, because I am hanging vertically. And so there's probably an access right above where I am. I'm going to try to go through this, but I'm going to also locate the spot. So that I can try to see where we are and see if there's access. Because I am horizontal again, and I'm pushing, but I can't see anything. So unless there is still a septic tank out here, which I've seen stranger things. It looks like I'm horizontal though, and I'm just pushing. So there we go. So hopefully we'll be able to see better on the way back. Try to run some water through this, and we'll see how it goes. But if nothing else, I should be able to, when I pull back, I should be able to locate the spot that I mentioned earlier where it turns and goes vertical and drops in. That looked like a clean out. And so if it is covered, I should be able to uncover it. Just right now, there's so much stuff stuck to the camera that it's hard for me to tell where I am. So what we're hoping for is that I can get moving enough to go out. The more I'm pushing, the more I think I'm probably going to be better off just pulling back to that spot where the clean out is and seeing if I can uncover that to be able to get all the way out, because I think this goes out to the side street. So I'm going to pause the video for a second, and I'm going to go see if they can run a little bit of water for me. So, but we haven't been able to see a whole lot once we dropped off, because when it got to the bottom and turned, got stuff on the front of the camera. So we're going to try to run some water, rinse that camera head off, and then I'm also going to see about how far out I am and how much further I would have to go, or you know, see if I can find that clean out before I pull back. Okay, so we've got some water running. I'm going to try to rinse off the camera a little bit so at least we can kind of see what's going on the way back. That's what we want. And so I'm able to push a little bit. I want to be able to see what I'm doing here. And hopefully we can at least see if there's another clean out here in the straight one, in the straight part as we go out, because it's going around the left side of the house if we're facing the house. But yeah, we're going to have to pull back, and we'll have to get a relative idea. I'll have to, when I find the clean out, I'm going to have to get like a relative idea of where I am, how far I've gotten so far. This will help because this turns. You can see so it's pretty hard to see here because I am outside, so there's a little bit of sun that's obscuring my view a little bit. But so far we're looking pretty good. Looks like a belly. I am underwater. Hopefully when we access the other clean out, I'll be able to put a little standoff on the camera because it's flashing, which means it's not real deep. You can see now I'm going vertical. Yep, here we are right here. This is where it looks like there's a clean out and then it drops straight down. Yep, right about here. Let me pull back just a hair. Make sure my camera's laying flat so I can get a good locate. Okay, so it should be about a foot in front of this. So I'm going to pause the video again. We're going to locate this and see if we can uncover a clean out. Alright. So we did find the clean out. It's an old clay clean out, and I've got it open now. You might be able to see some light as I get close, but it doesn't look like it. But yeah, I did find it. It had a rock covering it and just mud packed around it. So we'll see if we can get let's see if we can have if we have a cap or something in there that'll more correctly plug that hole so that it's easier to get in and out of. And I'm gonna suggest marking it with something, landscaping, you know, a garden gnome or something, you know, just something to mark it so you know it's there if it ever needs access. But this at least gave us an opportunity to inspect the cast iron, the little bit of cast iron that is there. And the cast iron does look pretty good. I mean, like I said before, you can't really tell what kind of life expectancy cast iron has because you can't tell how thin or thick the line is, the wall of the pipe, that is. So, I mean, it looks good. It's open and flowing, and there's not a whole lot of it. But I did notice that the Y at the base, where it turns and goes outside, that was cracked. Looks like somebody replaced the cap, and then like when the cast iron had snapped off around where the clean out cap was, and then they just packed it with something to fix it. But we are all the way back out. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to pause it. Hopefully we don't have to make a whole nother video. But I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to take the equipment down and go in through the outside clean out so that we can be sure to get as far as we can. Hopefully we can make it all the way out to the street, because this line does come out the back. If you're facing the house, it comes out, turns to the left side of the house, goes around that, and then it turns and goes on down the side of the house out to the street. So we got a long way to go. So again, I'm going to pause the video here. We're going to make a move down to the other clean out. Alright, so we have moved down onto the ground. You can see here is the clean out. It's a 6-inch clay, old clay clean out, and they had just a rock covering it. And so I'm going to recommend that you get an expansion plug, a 6-inch expansion plug. I do not carry anything that big in my truck. This is going down pretty far, so it goes out and then it drops down immediately. Looks like what they did is they just took it out of the house, and then when they installed the sewer main down the street, they went ahead and just brought it real deep back here, which is not real common. Usually they'll come out about the same depth as what it was for the clean out, or for the expansion plug, and then or they'll come out with where the same level as the tank, and then keep it really shallow all the way out to the main until they need to drop down. Because in this case they would have had to dig, 9 foot deep to install all this around the house. So it kind of seems it's not real common. And so we do have a little bit of a belly here from the beginning of where they started the low line, where it dropped off. And so we will note that, but I didn't push any solids through it, so it seems like it's overtaking it well, because it is dropping off drastically, and so that water's got enough speed to overtake all this. So we are making a left, and there may be another clean out here. A lot of times when they did this, they would, you can see how it looks like the pipe is coming from the right. And so a lot of times what they would do is also put a clean out before the turn. And so you would get in the clean out, and that would just be the beginning of the straight line. But I will check that on the way back. Hopefully we're able to get, all the way out to the street from here and get a better look at it. And so the line is flat. Obviously you can see it's holding a decent amount of water. And the main issue we find with clay a lot of times is we'll find some roots. And so you had a little bit there, but clay lines have 3-foot sections in them. And because of that, those 3-foot sections are, it just leaves a lot of connections, and so it leaves a lot of opportunity for the roots to get in. And there, see, there you go, right there. There's some roots. And so we'll hope with this clean out, there we go, with that standoff I have on the camera, it makes the camera head a lot bigger. So we don't want that to keep us from finishing the inspection, but we'll mark that also on the way back. Hopefully that's the only spot of roots we have. Oh well, spoke too soon. So we'll see if we can punch through this little spot here. I think I just did actually. Here we go. But now we need to try to rinse the camera head off.
Find out, shotgun.
So we'll try to make it all the way out to the main.
Oh, you found it. Good for you. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry about that.
And so we're hoping we can get all the way out to the main and rinse the camera head off, and then we'll be able to see a lot better on the way back. All right, it looks like we've switched over into concrete. There's still some haze on the front of the camera, so I'm hoping we get out here and rinse the camera head off like I mentioned earlier. But might be running out of stick here soon. That's it. That's all I have. It's almost about 150 feet. That's all we got. Now the actual measurement's only off the rotation of the drum. So it's 150 feet from this point that's going down and all the way out. So I'm going to go based off of where I am with the concrete. I believe I'm off the property because the concrete would start where the municipality, or in this case the Metropolitan Sewer District of Cincinnati, would take responsibility. So the good news is I've inspected everything that is on the property, and I imagine I'm pretty close to the main, but I'm going to go locate this and verify exactly where we are, and then I'm going to try to run some more water and see if we can rinse that camera head off a little bit also. Alright, so we are off the property. I'm in the middle of the street, but the sewer main is on the other side of the street. But from here on out, it is the responsibility of the sewer district. It's about 12 to 13 feet past this point. Like I said, I am just past the middle of the street, and then the main is on the other side of the street up into the lawn a little bit, up into the grass. But basically where the concrete pipe is, where that starts, that is where MSD's responsibility takes over. You can kind of tell it's where the developer started. So the concrete would be the main, the sewer main, and then the lateral over to the property line essentially. And so the good news is we've inspected everything that the homeowner is responsible for. Again, I'm going to pause the video again, and we're going to go try to run a bunch of water and see if we can get this camera head rinsed off just a little bit more. Probably be a good idea. All right, so Like I mentioned, we are running a bunch of water, so we're kind of wait for that to show up. It does look like the lens actually cleared up a little bit just from sitting, I imagine, and it running down off the end of the camera. But the good news is we can see pretty good. Take a look at, like I said, this is the concrete. We are in the middle of the street, and so we're probably 15 feet or 20 feet from where this goes back onto the property. And so also you would see if there was an issue beyond this point, a backup or anything, we've been running water constantly for quite a while, and so it would have backed up into this part of the line, and you can see that it's not even sitting there much. Starting to get into, it holds a little bit of water, but the line looks to be flowing very good. There we go, now we're back in clay. So this is about where it was. This is about 20 to 25 feet onto the, is where the private stuff starts. So from this point in, you do own, but let you know that there's all that concrete would be the responsibility of the Metropolitan Sewer District to take care of. So there was a little bit of roots as we pulled back. It was 16 feet. You see just a little bit in there. There were a few spots that were pretty heavy, like this is getting down into the flow line, so that could very easily catch toilet paper. The biggest problem is wet wipes. I like to make sure I mention that in most of my videos, that wet wipes are a big issue. This one, I know there's other spots that are worse, but the wet wipes, they do not break down like toilet paper, and so it's like, you know, it's almost like it's worse than flushing a paper towel, which you don't want to do that either. But toilet paper is designed to break down and disintegrate, and those wet wipes are not. And so they will catch on roots and cause things to pile up behind it and cause backups. And it's very, very common for that to happen for that reason. I mean, the roots are initially the issue, but when you flush something down there that's not supposed to be in there and it doesn't break down, then it causes a problem a lot earlier than normal. I've seen them cause problems in brand new sewer lines. So, most of this stuff, you had a little tiny bit of roots out there, but most of this is nothing. It's very, very minor. But like you'll have spots like this is getting pretty, and they don't look real active how they're covered like that. A lot of times they don't look like those roots are very active. But I'm sure they're still growing. There may have been some old trees out there that have been taken down. See, this is a big spot right here. And it could just be that they've been sitting here about like this for a long time and they're catching grease and stuff, and that's what they're covered in. But it looks like they're all getting in at joints. You can see, like, you know, there's no, that's out of connection. And so it's just little finger roots and not anything major. I believe that was, let me see, where was that? That was at about 74? Yeah, 75. So about 75 feet. I'll try to note that one. And then I believe there was one more that I had a little bit of trouble getting through on the way out. But again, roots are very common in clay pipe with those 3-foot sections. You just have a lot of opportunity, and then usually the packing at the joints breaks down, and then, you know, a little finger root gets its way in there and finds fertilizer and water all in one place and sets up shop. There's another one. So there's about 59 to 60 feet there. That's a pretty hefty chunk of roots. So you want to make sure you have these cleaned pretty soon. just to make sure that it doesn't cause a problem when you get into the house and start using the fixtures heavily. That just looks like a little piece of mud actually that fell in when I was uncovering the clean out. But structurally the line looks really good. It just needs a little bit of cleaning for the roots. And then it does have a little belly here at the base of this clean out. But again, that's actually pretty common to have when they put clean outs and heavy fixtures in, just because it's a little bit heavier than the rest of the line. It tends to settle a little bit more around that extra piping. Here's where we were talking about earlier. I'm going to pause the video here and I'm going to locate this spot and see if they put a clean out in behind this turn, because a lot of times they'll put a Y in and they'll have a clean out just so they can go straight. So again, final pause here. We're going to get a locate and see if we can find this other clean out. All right, so it does feel like I found another spot close to the surface. And this would be, I said, just behind that, so somebody could get in there and clean it. And it would be easier for them to get. Good news is because this is so big, they should be able to easily get a 6-inch double knife in there and be able to clean this out really well. And you shouldn't have to worry about roots for quite a while. But I would recommend, after having it cleaned, maybe get an inspection or something in 3 to 5 years or so. And, I'm going to mark this just because I believe this is like the end of the belly. It's not the full height of the line. We know that because we could see flashes of it, and you'd be able to hear the air getting captured if it was really close to the top of the pipe. And we don't hear any of that. We've seen flashes as we pull back and pushed forward earlier. Now there's a whole lot of extra water in there because I've got the tub and the bathroom sink running. And so we're just going to locate this really quick. Okay, so that's about 8'5" to the invert. That's the inside bottom of the pipe, and then this goes back to the bottom of the clean out, which you can very clearly see. But you can see actually as you're looking, you can see the top of the water line. As long as I go slow and don't churn it up, you can see all the water's overtaking it. Yeah, see how you can see the flashes of it. And so it's not a minor belly, but it's maybe a medium. And with all the speed that the water has coming down and dropping into this, you can hear it. I'm sure you've been hearing it the whole time. And we're vertical now, so you can tell it's just a, I don't know, it's right in between a medium and a minor belly. And with all the speed that the water has coming down there, it shouldn't be an issue. Like I said, there's no solids down there at the base of this, and all the, it's dropping 3 or 4 feet into that other line, and then the water is taking off easily. So, the only thing we really found, structurally everything looked good. We had that little, you have a minor belly here as you get into as you drop in from the clean out settling, and it goes out about 6, 7 feet before you're clearly out of it. But it is, less than 2 inches, and everything seems to be escaping and flowing freely. So The rest of the line structurally looked great. Had some root intrusion at a couple spots. I believe it was around 60 and 75 feet were the major ones. Those should be cleaned. I would recommend that they get cleaned either before or shortly after taking occupancy, just to be sure that that doesn't cause an issue. And if done well, you can get a few years out of that, and maybe add in a chemical treatment to get you longer intervals in between treatments. But you may have to set up a maintenance schedule either run some chemicals down it once a year, every 6 months to a year, or just clean it now and then give it 3 to 5 years. Have another scope done to see how fast the roots are growing, because I don't see any trees nearby. And if you don't have any more growth, then you can just leave it alone and everything will be fine. But that's about it. Everything looked good, just a little root treatment, and everything should be fine. So that'll end the inspection for 8720 Woodview Drive.